Tom and Nitta, welcome to Shoe Geeks February edition 2026.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Good to be back.
We're here recording audio because Nitta's internet is too bad to record video.
My internet's good today. It says it's good. I've done the speed test and everything.
You're normally out on your balcony. You're mixing it up today.
Well, actually, I can't go on the balcony today because someone's chainsawing shit. There's trees and limbs dropping down everywhere next to us. So people are getting things chainsawed up this week.
So when you live in the jungle.
That's what happens. Yep.
Haven't seen too much of you boys running lately just because I've been off Strava a bit, but I'm sure you have been. Nitta, I'm not sure about you, but I know Tommy must be running.
I think Nitta's maybe done more than me, possibly.
You started the year off better than me, that's for sure.
Okay.
You were straight into 100-mile weeks. But look, I've been consistently running between 90 and 100K weeks every week, I think. So pretty consistent. But Tommy, just been sick. You look healthy, though, Tom. You look really healthy.
I've bounced back. Bounced back. So survived.
Weight on?
Thanks for noticing.
That's what the healthy looks like for you.
I've let go after Valencia. I was like, I just needed some. Downtime, just less running, more eating. So,
but you didn't. You got straight back into running, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess less running is probably like 30K a week less. It's an addiction. You can't stop. It's just it's all relative.
Yeah.
You actually can stop. I found that out. You can just stop.
You've got
you just
enough
have to replace it with something
exactly.
else.
You got enough to take your time at the moment.
I think there's a bit of a personality change going here and there. I reckon though. We'll find out what stopping does for you, Julian.
Well, Nitta, what handicap races have you been in lately?
I've actually run nothing this year yet so far. Actually, I ran Run the Loop. We had the Run the Loop race at the start of the year, which is 2.2 Ks around like our tan equivalent. That's all I've done. And I'm actually going back home to run a handicap race in Loxton, my hometown, this weekend. So
the king returns.
Homeboy hero.
Yep, never won there actually. Can't win. I'm always too nervous in front of mum and dad.
Will that be live streamed anywhere?
I don't know. It'll be on YouTube after. I'm not sure. There's the guy that I beat in the 800 as well. I don't think I'll give him. I'm going to give him like a 100-meter start over a K. It's going to be tough to catch him, I think. So we'll see.
How far will you run? 900 meters or something?
Probably of 950-ish, I think.
950. So he runs 850.
I don't actually look. It's around about that. Yeah, probably about. So he might run a bit. He might run less actually.
So when he finishes the race, does he go, just ran a K, or does he say, I did the 800 today?
Well, look, you got to put things in perspective. Like he doesn't brag about it by any means if he does well. Like he can run like a 17-minute park run, so he's not terrible at running. So
I'm not talking about his talent. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He's entered the 1K race, but he's running 800.
He takes his $1,000, which he gets for winning the race, and then he goes home and buys his wife a nice present, probably. So.
Well, it's not bad, actually.
Yeah, that's right. So just like when
Tommy pretty much describing Tom DeCano.
That's good.
Yeah.
Except he makes way more.
He does, yeah.
Actually, the Ballarat race director come up to me on Sunday, and he said, a big race between Tom DeCano and Reese Edwards this year.
Yeah.
And I said, Reese Edwards is going to crush him.
I've got a pretty good head to head with Reese. I think I don't know how many times he's beaten me, but I'm a bit worried though because I need to be fit. I can't go in there now like half-assed. I got to get fit. So I got to get stuff into gear again.
He followed Toby for the first half, didn't he? In that Port Fairy, by the looks of it. So he goes out pretty hard.
He dragged Toby along after 15K. Yeah. So I saw him the next day. He was in Anglesea. He was staying there, and he goes, "Tell Toby he owes me a beer for that."
Oh wow! There you go.
Yeah. So he did blow up a bit, which was always going to happen. It was bloody warm. It was like 23 degrees on the start line.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So just know that he is fit, Tom.
All right.
It'd be nice to see you two running next to each other. Just two big, like, good movers.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Whole family's going down. It's going to be good. Kids doing the mile race. My mum and Lana are doing the 10K. So,
Right,
big
yeah.
family.
I saw Leo got a bit of exposure to the big Mizungo. So
He did. He did. His neighbor who was over watching it with him, he's like obsessed with running. So I was like, I
oh
knew he would
really?
like it. Yeah, Leo's not that
Yeah.
into it, but because his mate was into it, yeah, he was getting into it. So then, yeah,
All time
introduction.
documentary, isn't it? Just an all
It
time
is.
documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All
Pretty
right,
good.
you boys have been wearing shoes. I've been
Mm,
selling shoes. Couple of exciting ones come in early. I know you guys have been wearing a shoe called the Asics Super Blast 3.
mm,
It's a bit of a polarizing update, actually. I haven't been
Yeah.
checking in too much
mm.
on the reviews across the internet, mainly because most of them are probably paid or seeded shoes for these
Yeah.
reviews. So the credibility goes down the toilet when that happens. So yeah, I'm interested to hear you two boys because
Uh,
there's no bias here.
I
Mm.
assume we are allowed to talk about it now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. By
I,
the time this releases, for sure.
All right.
I don't know.
Mm,
I guess
mm.
so.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had no. I think the full embargo lifted today because it was like that
yeah.
big launch event.
Yes. Yeah.
Where was that, in Sydney or something?
Bondi. Yeah.
Did you get
I,
invited, Tommy?
No, no invite. I'm not. Don't have enough followers on Instagram.
yeah, mate. I didn't get the invite. I just get the slap on the wrist for putting up a picture on Strava a bit too early.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that was
naughty
silly
by
by
you.
you, though.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, yeah.
silly.
Who's Strava's not even social media, is it? Mm,
Well, it's putting it out in the public eye.
yeah, yeah. Didn't even think about it. Yep.
So what are your thoughts on it, Nitta?
Look, it was always going to be a nice update for me. Like I think so. That the biggest change that's taken place, the top layer, which was historically that PIBA blend or the FF Turbo squared, has gone to the FF Leap. So immediately, first feel like there is no better first feeling of putting your foot into a shoe, just stepping into it and walking around in it and bouncing on your tippy toes. Is the extraordinary first feel. The base layer of the carrier foam still that FF Blast down the bottom, so an EVA. It's like Julian said, it's a straight away you know it's going to be a. There's nothing wrong with V1 and V2. They're both super dynamic shoes. The difference is this one just feels friendly underfoot when you're running at probably easier paces. I always felt like in V2 I had to run a little bit quicker and hit the ground a bit hard to get the bounce back. It was a very stable shoe, V1 and V2. But this one here definitely has elements of feeling a bit more wobbly under the foot and a bit less stable. They've attempted to try and reinforce the medial part of the shoe a touch more by filling it up with a bit more foam to compensate. So even Asics have known this is going to be a bit less stable. They've tried to reinforce the medial side a little bit more. The upper is very nice. Like it's probably a little bit more voluminous, I reckon, than V2. And overall, I've done 240 Ks in it already, so I've had it for a bit longer. And I thought perhaps obviously durability will be the big question with the TPU, but I mean durability is a relative term. This shoe feels fantastic still. Look, it's the most enjoyable long running shoe I've got currently. It still feels stable enough for me. It fit like the turbo and the leap in the forefoot feels so fun. It does feel as close to the edge compound as possible, like in terms of the Metaspeed edge, but with just a really big platform underneath, like a trampoline. So you do feel the slow compressive compression when you hit the ground and that delayed bounce back, for example, which I just love that feeling in a shoe. So I think while it's going to be polarizing for them who really relied on the stability of V2, I think it'll bring another whole cohort of people who probably found that to be a little bit too firm for them on long runs to be this more enjoyable now as well. So I think there'll be more of a favorable change to this than there will be a negative in terms of stability. But Julian will know more because he'll be selling it in store, so he'll get the feedback quicker than what we will know. And yeah, like you said, like all the online reviews are all probably a little bit biased in that sense as well. People are comparing them to the Mega Blast. I guess the best thing to note now is that there's truly demarcated from the Mega Blast, where it's sort of a bit more of a stable PIBA performance shoe. This one can be an easy day shoe and a long run shoe, but you can also pick the pace up in it. So it's definitely more of a utility shoe almost.
Mm.
You think, yeah, you think it's more of a utility shoe now than it
Sorry,
used to be?
Sorry, less of a utility shoe in terms of it being dynamic. Probably more of an everyday shoe, I should say. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The special quality of the two was that it was so versatile, and like we talk about this like spectrums or like a sliding scale
Mm.
from most, like if you get a really soft bouncy shoe or a light shoe, then the spectrum becomes that it's unstable. Or if you get a high stack shoe, less stable, and or like weight, some like or durability and density of foam. But everything on the Super Blast seemed to be turned to the maximum. It was like the ultimate player if you had a cheat code for a video
It
game.
was. It was. I always think with that shoe, it was like, you know how people ask you. I think I've said it before. Like they ask you, "Hey Tom, what's Nitta? What's the best shoe right now? What should I get?" Like a random person,
It
and you're
describes it. Yeah.
You used to always say, "Oh, it depends." Like, what do you want it for? What do you all this? I just say, "Oh, get the Super Blast."
That's
It's like the safest, easiest answer.
It's the first shoe in history where you can say, "Oh, this is actually the best shoe in the market," just for everything generally. So,
yeah.
And it probably isn't that anymore, I suppose, because stability becomes one of those outliers for people, in terms of their perception. But geez, nothing. Surely putting on foot for the first time in store must be, I think, that must sell more shoes than anything. That feeling, it's an extraordinary first feeling. So,
I've done maybe 70 Ks in it so far, and I'm still kind of undecided from that whole stability. I know you boys have been arguing nicely about maybe its level of stability and its broad applicability to runners who might need a bit more stability, but yeah, it's like I have no issues personally with stability with it, but it definitely feels it is pretty objectively because it's softer and there's minimal geometry change. Although you've mentioned there is a little change, it's minimal, so it's pretty objectively less stable. So if people if the attribute of stability in V2 is something that worked well for people, it's probably going to work less well in V3.
Yeah.
But the fun factor and just as you said, it's definitely softer, more compliant, and you get a little bit more bounce back because it compresses more than it bounces back. So it feels like the midsole feels like a longer spring now, which is nice from a performance and fun standpoint. But it almost like I can feel my foot sinking into areas that it didn't sink into before, in the frontal plane side to side. People will just have to try it on and see if it's suits them with enough stability. Basically.
Well, that's that definitely more notable with walking and it falling off the outside part of the shoe a touch more in the walking gait. But I'll tell you, after 210 Ks, that feeling of a couple of shoes you get, because I'm so biased to the forefoot. I've now got these little cavities forming in the forefoot, so it's created this sort of functional pitch in the shoe because I'm not hitting the rear foot as much because the midsole's not returning back to its original sort of stack height now at 200 K. So I could actually feel the ground more at 200 Ks in the Super Blast 3 than I could say compared to the V2 because you wouldn't compress the foam quite as much. So I always think that like the relative durability, it still feels fun, still feels bouncy, but perhaps maybe it will feel closer to the ground earlier this shoe compared to V2. But it's like, I don't know if people are buying shoes on, durability anymore because the first feel sort of outweighs. If this shoe lasts 200 Ks less than V2, the fun that you have for the 200 Ks less, it's still probably worth it, to be honest. But the cost has changed, hasn't it, Julian? It's a bit different to V2, isn't it?
Well, the last color of the V2 went up $20. So it went from 320 to 340, and so it stayed at 340. They kind of smoothed the blow a little bit. But the great thing about the V2 was that in the areas that we live in, it could handle going off-road, and it could handle flat, fast concrete if you're picking it up at the end. And you could feel confident if you were going on a long run and encountering single track and dirt roads and fire roads, and or you're on the concrete for an extended period. It could handle everything. That's why it was such a great long run shoe. And I'm a little uncertain how it's going to go off road now because of that softness in the shoe. You're just going to have a little bit more travel through the foam when you hit the deck, and that extra little bit of travel could be the difference between a rolled ankle or not.
It's tricky though because the midsole conforms a lot more as well. It compresses a lot more. Like I run on dirt every day, so every time I hit the lateral part of the shoe or the medial part of the shoe, it just if I hit a rock or a camber, the midsole just really compresses in that area. It almost levels out a touch more. Whereas when the foam was a bit firmer, for example, if I hit at a slightly inverted position, I had a bigger chance of going over because I just couldn't compress the foam in that area. So while it feels unstable, I think it's a bit relative. Like we took it on white road. I took it on white roads, which is a nice white road, but still is a cambered surface. I just found the lateral part of my shoe was compressing more on one side, the medial side was on the other. It almost leveled out pretty well. So I think I'm not 100% sure. I think maybe your perception of where you are in space probably changes, but I'm not 100% sure it increases the risk of rolling an ankle. Don't know.
I think it does.
Okay.
That's good.
So a lot of people wear the 2. Tell me who is at risk by upgrading blindly to the 3 and who should be fairly safe in doing so.
I think body
Go,
mass.
Tom. Oh,
sorry, Tom, you go.
Whoever.
You go, Tom.
Yeah. No, that was probably the first thing I was going to say is body mass. Like it probably suits a lighter runner now rather than a bigger body on top of it, just because it compresses easier, or even like pace. Like if you're not hitting it, if you don't hit it as hard, maybe it's not as suitable as well. Yeah, and just people, like I said before, like that attribute of stability, just people that relied a little bit more on that. So people that had a little bit more deviated foot mechanics, whether pronated or supinated foot type, that helped sort of keep them level on the shoe. They're going to have less support now.
Yeah.
That's about it, really. What do you reckon, Nitta?
Well, I think most people will transition from the 2 to the 3 and find it a different experience. And you probably will find that 80-20 rule. You probably find 80% say, oh, wow, this is nice, similar, or slightly better. And 20% will just say, oh, look, this does not work for me. And they'll go back to the V2 or find a shoe that sort of runs more similar to the V2. And it'll be one of the first shoes they experience saying, oh, look, that shoe worked better for me. So I don't think it'll be quite as many as we think. I think this change will be quite nice. And it might push a few people to the Mega Blast. I'm not sure what Nova Blast 6 will look like. It might push a few people that direction potentially in the future as well. It might just, sell a few more of the leftover V2s for the next 6 months as well. So I don't think as many people will have issues with it. I think the risk is probably built on body mass more than anything in terms of changing to the shoe. But I have a feeling that a lot of people will really like the change as well. So it's been a pretty big hype. Everyone's been talking about it as well. It's V1 to V2 changed a bit. Midsole got a bit softer, upper got nicer. And V2 to V3 is quite a big change, especially alongside the Mega Blast, which a lot of people have said the Mega Blast, Super Blast, they could hardly tell the difference besides, the upper formation between the 2 as well. This is quite different. So, it's a great update to the shoe, to be honest. If it's not shoe of the year by the end of the year, some other companies produced a really good shoe between now and the end of the year because it's going to be a quality shoe.
You've called that in Feb.
Yeah, well, but look, it's going to take a good shoe, isn't it? Like it's a nice shoe.
It will,
so,
but there's some good shoes coming, and I've got
that's
my
right.
own. Yeah. And there's some really good. I've got a pair. I don't think I can talk about it yet, but it's the new Cloud Monster Hyper, Monster Hyper 3.
Yep.
Now I got a pair of those. I remember seeing that in Zurich in September 2024, and I saw a lot of shoes on that trip.
Yep.
And it was one shoe that I left thinking they've made an absolute banger here. And they've updated a shoe that went pretty well, but there were some flaws with it. This shoe, I remember putting a size 9.5 or maybe a 10 on, jamming my foot in, thinking, there's something special about the smooth. It's a smooth underfoot feel. And then I got to 12. It's not mushy, it's not soft, it's bouncy, it's stable.
Are they using the light spray on it as well, or is it just a normal?
There's 2 options. There's a light spray option and there's an inline option. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I've got that pegged as my shoe of the year, to be honest.
Have they answer this? Have they removed more of the cloud tech?
There's more of the good foam. So in the last one there was like.
Yes, is the answer.
Less holes, more foam.
There's more good foam too. They I'll do an episode on this. I think it deserves it. Anyway,
good.
You know what else has come out? And I know you've got a pair, Tom. You don't need a Puma Deviate Elite 4.
I don't have a pair.
Oh, I thought I asked you about this.
No.
And I said, yeah. I asked you in the message group. I said this is a great shoe, and you said I wouldn't wear it. I'd prefer the 3.
Nah.
Yep. You haven't got the 3 either, have you?
No, I don't have the 3. I've got the 1. I've got
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
original. That's
You
it.
yeah.
guys
I've
stitching
got the
me
one
up
as
here,
well.
Tom.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
I'm
I've
gonna
not
have to
worn
go
a
back and check in
DV8
on this.
Elite since V1.
All right, well, you guys, this is now our biggest selling super shoe in the Canberra store up here, and we've got a lot of them. And a lot of customers are coming in going, we we want to try super shoes. Like this is the
can you
first place we have.
walk us through the difference between V3? Because V3 is a very reliable training shoe option that's been going on for a while, the Elite V3, and it was a favorite amongst a lot of the guys I was coaching on gravel and doing tempo work and
Yeah.
doing mixed threshold and short work. So walk us through V4.
Well, I don't have the full spec sheet in front of me, but it's basically got the foam from the Fast R3.
Yeah,
So, but they've put it in a usable package for the majority of people out there, and it's doesn't. I don't think it sits at 40 mil. I think it sits slightly below that, so it feels very stable. It's
yeah,
gone. I think it's 175 grams, men's size 10, perhaps.
yeah,
It's lost a bit of the grip, so the medial side has like it's exposed, and so
yeah,
it's lost weight through that. But the foam is I put it on in store, and normally I feel like holes in these super shoes. There's normally like a hole where my foot disappears or falls off the platform. It's like there's something underneath my big toe that just has guts. And when I load it and when I transition into toe off, normally these new super foams, I fall through the shoe a bit and I don't stay balanced on top. Whereas this shoe, I stay super balanced on top of the shoe, and I can just tell like this is going to be a really sustainable shoe for me. But it's
yeah,
175 grams and it uses magic foam.
yeah.
It's a
Look,
package
would
that
you race? Would you race in it?
yeah, absolutely, I
Yeah,
would for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Because I think there's some question marks on Metaspeed Edge for me in terms of calf loading. Uh, I'm not sure whether it's the front's too soft compared to the rear, or I don't know what it is. But
yeah,
I mean, I haven't run in this shoe. I'll be honest, I haven't run in the shoe more than just running on the treadie in it. So I can't fully assess it. But we are going through super shoe fittings up here daily, and this tends to be the winner. Even when a customer comes in with a crazy bias towards a super shoe, so they're
yeah,
like, I'm here to buy the Adios Pro 4 from Adidas," and you're like, "Cool, let's try it on." While you're here, let me chuck some other shoes on your foot, and they walk out with the Puma nearly every
yeah, yeah.
time.
It's
That is a
interesting.
sign that a shoe's working.
It's one of the shoes I have read a few reviews on. Mainly, the biggest reason I'll read reviews is built on like just like true to size and fitting and things like that as well. And it looks like they've made this one a little bit broader than the previous one as well, so a bit more
Yep,
accommodating,
they have.
which is good from Puma because that was just one of the limiting factors for them.
V1, I struggled because it was so narrow. I don't know what they did in V2 and 3, but V1 was so narrow.
Mate, I still wear it for
V1
Monday
and 2 were
strides.
rocks.
Like it's a fast feeling shoe. It's super narrow though.
Yeah, no, you'll have to try and get yourself a pair of these because that like it's a standout now in the market.
Yep.
They're doing good. They're doing
What
good.
else we got? I'll bet you know what shoe I've been wearing a bit. This now funky looking thing. This is actually the
Is it
Ultra
Olympus?
Olympus
Is it 6 or 7?
275.
What is it? Which
So
Olympus 6, 7? Oh, the 27. What's the 275?
the 275 is the Olympus 5 midsole
Yeah.
with a matrix upper on it. And
Okay.
now that sounds like, oh, what's the point of this?
Contradictory
But
shoes. That sounds. Yeah.
if you've ever put an Olympus of the last few models on, it has one of the worst heel cups and the shallowest fits through the midfoot of all time.
Now the
And
Mont Blanc.
I,
The Mont Blanc had the shallowest
Very
fit of all
shallow.
time.
Very shallow.
yeah, and so many people got issues. Like they wanted the shoe, it suited them. They wanted zero drop, they wanted wide toe box, they wanted cushioning with some rocker, and then they would put their foot in and go, "Oh, something's wrong with this."
Mate, I'm going to tell you some funny stories on that as well. Because, like, I remember when the Olympus, it's because a relatively popular midsole, right, and very stable. And a few people came in and said, "Oh, I'm just getting a few Achilles issues. Can you put like a 4 mil heel pitch into the back of it?" But you just couldn't. They'd fall out the back of the counter because it was too low. You just couldn't even put 4 mils into it.
But yeah, well, this addresses all of that. It's really deep, and the toe box gets like so much more volume to it. It's one of the best fitting shoes I've ever put on. So Matrix is like this upper that's they use in a lot of trail shoes because it has things like Kevlar fibers through it. It's really durable. it's designed to sort of get worn in shaly mountain faces and
Yeah. Okay.
anywhere that you sort of anywhere where there's a harsh environment, it could lead to upper tears. They use this matrix upper. It's but yeah, if so, that's just for any ultra lovers that have trouble with Olympus. This solves all those
Mm,
issues.
Have you been running in it?
No, I haven't been running at all. So
no.
I
Okay.
got this like 2 weeks ago. Uh,
Okay.
it's I'm not sure I would run in it just because it's like it'd be a shoe I'd wear for an ultra marathon or something. But I have trail shoes that I enjoy more than this. Like I'd run in the Lone Peak, I reckon, before I'd run in this one.
Yeah. Look, while we're on trail shoes, I from Ash from Adidas sent us through some Adidas. Have you got yours yet, Tom?
No, not yet.
Okay. This is the Evo SL ATR. You've already worn this a bit of time. I reckon just before you got injured, Julian, you were wearing the
Yeah.
ATR. And the major
Yep.
difference is like, it's got the small lugs on the outsole. Look, they don't seem like a big deal, but because V1 was such a slicky outsole, this actually was a different shoe by putting a different outsole onto the outsole. But also the upper, the materials they're using on the upper through here, a little bit more industrial as well. I took them for a run through Bel National Park, a long run, and immediately just felt it's pretty stable in the surface area. It still is a little bit narrower in the rear foot. Probably is a better shoe for the most of the population, I reckon, Julian, just because it doesn't slip as much on the grip's pretty good. It's pretty tacky. The only thing I found just with the upper is that we went for a run. It was a Sunday morning, pretty early, 7:30, but it's still about 26, 27 degrees. Oh, geez, my foot was sweaty. Like at the end of that long run, 90 minutes, and it was the first time I felt like I was almost on the verge of blistering just at the base, just because I always had so much moisture going on. So I think it'll be a bit more of a winter shoe for me as well. But tacky outsole, probably better for fire trails than sort of technical trails, but still pretty good. Like you could race in this shoe for trails for sure because it's lightweight, still got that graded rocker, and it's the exact same midsole as the original Evo SL. So very, very nice update for people wanting to grab a bit more traction, because that was probably the only complaint. The upper's been addressed in terms of just more volume in the upper, so people won't be getting this sort of like rubbing on top of the lacing system by moving. So pretty decent shoe, the ATR, I'd say. I reckon probably an easy sale for those who want a pretty dynamic trail shoe.
Yeah, that shoe. So just on the fit of the Evo SL, there is now an option, the woven,
Hmm.
and the woven is a lot more snug.
Yep.
So it doesn't allow that foot to sort of like skate around like the
Yep.
last one. A lot of people had issues with that. The
Yeah.
woven's a bit more like tighter fit through, not tighter, but
Hmm.
more overlays, more contained. And they've got another one coming called I think it's the Exo Shell or something, and that's going to be more overlays again.
Yeah, got it.
So that it'll be the same midsole with they'll have multiple varieties of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, the ATR was great. It's almost a perfect like faster long run shoe on dirt. Kind of
Yeah,
niche, but
absolutely. Yeah.
that's what our runs are every day.
Yeah. White roads, I think that's a fantastic option as well, but probably it's going to be much better in the colder weather, I think, than the hotter weather. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, Ash also sent through the Rise, one of their just their mid-range neutral trainers as well. I probably actually just leave the review on that one till you get it, Tom, because we might chat about that one together. Because I have a feeling you'll find this as a better shoe than what I will. Very traditional midsole. They use the Dream Strike, which and they've stacked it up a bit higher than the previous version of the Rise. Look, it's a very, very simplistic, lightweight, nimble shoe. I feel like I need to run with a slightly higher cadence in this shoe to try and accommodate just a bit being a little bit more traditional and firmer. The knitted upper is fantastic. The fit's really good. It falls into the category of almost like a Vomero 18 in terms of being a basic shoe that's not complicated, but probably a little bit more dynamic. You take it a bit longer. But I'll wait for you to get this one because I have a feeling that it's got you written all over it. It's got a bit of gel pulse about it. So,
All right.
Hey boys, we up in Canberra here. We rolled out this new treadmill system. It's called Motion Metrics G2.
Mhm.
Motion Metrics is a biomechanics sort of software hardware company from Sweden. I thought I would get my business partner, the co-owner of the running company Canberra, and also the owner of the running company Clifton Hill on to chat about it. He's an engineer, and he did a lot of research into this treadmill system and the data that we get from this, and how credible it is, and how it can help and does it work? Does it tell us things that we might find beneficial? So I might grab Chris, who can come in and talk to you guys about the sort of research you did behind it and explain it in a little more detail than I can. So just give us a second,
Sounds
all right?
good.
Yep.
Nitta, you got to get a Celio.
Yeah, I know. I was asked you if it's a bit firmer or a bit softer after going for a run today, and a little
Softer.
bit of a yeah. Okay, that's what I need.
It's pretty soft. It's
Yep,
pretty
need more
compliant.
soft.
Yeah. It feels like I was thinking about it. It feels like a high stack Vaporfly.
The rocket looks pretty proximal. It looks
It's
like it goes back a
aggressive.
long way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, really rocket.
There's
But
good
they moved
reviews.
the rear foot. They moved the rear foot back, so there's more foam in the rear foot. So for people
it'd be
that
good
do
for
round
you.
a bit further back, it's better.
Yeah. Here he is.
You hear?
Yeah.
Tommy, Nitta, how you doing?
Hey, Chris.
how are you,
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Busy working while Moose chats to you boys.
Good work, mate. You sounds like you boys have been very busy.
Pretty good for a new store. I mean, it's 11 years since I opened my last one, so I'm used to a slightly different pace of things in the store. So it all feels pretty cruisy here. But I mean, relative to when I opened my store in Clifton Hill, I think probably we did more sales in the first week here than I did in my first month or month and a half in Clifton Hill.
Good. That's great.
It's great. I mean, it's pretty awesome to see how the response from the community as well, like people coming in. And I mean, Julie and I put a lot into this store. It's a lot fancier and shinier than our stores back in Victoria. So it's pretty nice to see that how well it's received.
There's a good running community in Canberra, and I've only been there a few times, but it seems like they like nice shiny things. So I think it might fit the criteria of being here in Canberra.
It's so good up here. I mean, my partner spent many years working up here with government jobs, so I've spent a lot of time here over the years. And actually, when I opened my store in Melbourne, I was actually tossing up with whether I was going to open in Melbourne or Canberra then, just because my partner was up here at the time.
Makes sense.
And went with Melbourne, and 11 years later, and find myself back here. So it's pretty good.
Well, I'm coming to Canberra on the 13th and the 14th of March, so I'm coming to the AIS for a quick chat and about shoes, and I'll pop into the store and I'll jump on the motion metrics. And what am I expecting when I jump on this thing?
Fun. It's fun. It's like, I mean, for someone that loves shoes and loves running biomechanics data, it's fun. I think it's something that I looked at in my Clifton Hill store for a couple of years before we kind of looked at this. I kind of expanded my Clifton Hill store a couple of years ago, and at the time, or after I did it, I was just was thinking how, I guess, impressive and kind of it was another evolution of how the stores had been, but kind of looking at the tools we use to analyze runners seemed a little bit rudimentary to me, relative to the space that we were in. So I started kind of digging around and looking for better tools, and found motion metrics, but didn't really have the time to invest into to really looking into it and seeing whether it was the right tool for us.
Yep.
And then when Julian, and I started talking about, Canberra and trying new things here and being, a bit more of a concept or a bit more progressive in what we did, I kind of, flicked the details across to Julian and said, what do you think of this? And he was really enthusiastic about looking into it more.
Yep. It's interesting looking at some of the features and stuff in there. It's very different to traditionally, like just looking at two-dimensional motion control and trying to connect the person to a shoe characteristic that may reduce injury risk from 20, 30 years of history that sort of hasn't worked very well. You're trying to match the subjective comfort from the patient to some objective metrics, which has always been super difficult. But there's been these things that people tend to say when you work in retail or you work in a clinic and you say, this shoe just seems to match my gait or match my timing, for example. So you've got some features like energy return, shock absorption, and stride consistency, like trying to match the person's shoe geometry to how they're tuning their run, if that makes sense. And it looks like this system
for sure
to do that.
It definitely it attempts to do it, and I think it does it better for some runners rather than others. Like there's always things that are going to influence that. Like you get let's just one by one. You look at, say, energy return. So, I
Mm.
mean, it's energy return of the whole system. So, runner and shoe really like is how they're
Yep.
doing that measurement.
Yep.
You need to get a runner to run at a very even effort from one test to another,
Yeah.
and to be able to get to be able to, I guess, attribute the variances in those
Mm.
readings to the shoe.
Yep.
And for a more experienced runner, they're probably
Yeah.
going to have a lot easier time of being able to do that and measure their
Yep.
effort that way.
Yep.
And then for maybe a less experienced runner, you're probably going to see a little bit more variance and a little bit less correlation between
Yep.
how the runner perceives the shoe and
Yeah.
how the motion metrics essentially returns the value of energy return.
It's
Um,
it's a really good point about experience and novice. I think the novice, you're still trying to direct that person a bit more subjectively to what they're using the purpose of the shoe, right? But that person who knows what they
abs-
want, they've been running for many years, they've sort of got a bit of tune as to what they want to fall into. But this system might be a good way for them to go on there and objectively get some metrics as to why the shoes historically have worked for them. You might be able to match some of those characteristics up and say, oh, maybe this is some of the metrics that line up to why that shoe's been good for you. It starts to build their profile. So anytime in the future you put a shoe on and those metrics tend to line up, it should match their comfort a bit relative to what they want. So you might be able to build like a
yeah,
really good profile for the individual.
yeah, I think so. Like, I think sometimes some people just need some reinforcement, or of their decision as well.
Mm,
So, I mean, I kind of see the system not so much of a it's a tool to help us aid
mm,
us with the advice that we give, and I see the system as more of a way to remove options rather
mm,
than finalize an option. Like, I would still
yep,
always bring it back to runners' perception about
yep,
what they feel is more important.
mm,
But maybe the system can be a good way to essentially remove things that just don't perform like
yep.
What would you
relatively.
be looking at, Chris, if you saw something come up metrics wise? What
I
is it
mean,
that would rule out, or
look,
less likely to recommend a shoe?
well, I think that you were probably the ones where we're going to use the metrics to rule out stuff a lot more is probably going to not sit in the anyone that we're going to consider
Mm,
energy return for, but probably
mm,
more so those customers of ours where we're going to prioritize protection rather than experience. So I mean, what we've done previously is, frontal plane assessment, and
mm,
us visually interpreting pressure through the midsole of the shoe and using that to essentially make an assessment of stability for our customers.
mm,
I think, motion metrics gives us a little bit better subjective data in terms of,
yep,
it looks at knee alignment, it looks at rear foot
yep,
rotation. They're two things that in the frontal plane will
mm,
influence, the medial to lateral bias of pressure on a shoe.
mm,
And it's a little bit just easier for us to talk around like values as opposed to like this kind of nuanced visual interpretation of what we're looking at. So, maybe it's someone where, beginner runner, been running in
mm,
relatively softy shoes, maybe a lot of rear foot rotation that results in a
yep,
lot of medial compression of the midsole. And it's a lot easier for us to say to that person, like, put them on in a,
mm,
motion metrics and an existing shoe. We get some data on the forces and the movements that they're essentially subjected to while they're running.
mm,
And then we can just focus on really specific things, like maybe in that person's case, rear foot rotation, of making a
mm,
reduction there, and feel some confidence that there'll be a reduction in posterior tibial load for them.
mm.
Whether it's enough or not to overcome
Yep.
injury, we don't know, but definitely a step that's going to complement them.
It's a bit of an education
Yeah,
system as
yeah.
well. I notice it measures things like, whether you're a midfoot, forefoot, or rear foot runner. Like how many people come into the store and say, oh, no, I'm a midfoot, forefoot guy. And you see them run and they hit the rear foot by a long way. And you think,
Yeah,
oh,
I
it's a
mean,
bit, help push them in the right direction to understand that, well, maybe this part
yeah,
of the shoe is more important for you than you think.
yeah. I mean, a lot with the old system and a lot with the new system
Mm.
as well. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
it's
true.
a the desirable stride pattern that a lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
seek out but
yeah.
don't necessarily achieve. So,
And the experience,
so
you jump on this treadmill and you see the avatar, and people love that. People love being part of the virtual
I,
world, and
absolutely, like I mean, the fact that it does that and it just the customer experience is a real strong thing with it. The one I do particularly like with in terms of the protection side of customer as well, like the cushioning value is essentially the rate of loading. So it gives us the gradient of the ground reaction force curve.
Yep.
And it's a good one as well. Like, we talk about over support or too strong a stability features in shoes sometimes. And I've found a spot for that, essentially that cushioning or rate of loading number. Essentially, when what we've seen is when we kind of start getting into that those types of shoes that are maybe controlling too much, we see the cushioning value actually drop quite considerably. So essentially, pronation's getting blocked at the foot, and what that's then resulting is load transferring into the body quicker. So that's been I think, a valuable tool for us with Motion Metrics, where we've always gone from that less controlling shoe and getting people stable without the controlling features where possible. But when we're kind of on the cusp of which way do we go with this person? Do we look at a stable neutral shoe, or do we look at a shoe that has some stability features in it? Being able to have that additional kind of measure of that rate of loading has been a pretty useful tool for us.
Very cool. Yeah,
that's awesome, Chris.
Good. That's good. Well done, mate. That's a lot of work to go into it. And it seems, I mean, obviously the experience of selling the shoe now, it's a bit different to what retail was 20 years ago. People are seeking that experience. People are looking for education. And this is a system just to match a bit of that objective data with that person's subjective experience. Sure. So that's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's still the thing. It comes back to us and our experience because, I think if you don't fully understand it, or you don't, you can't kind of, direct the customer or get them focused away from the stuff that doesn't matter. I think there's a bit of potential to go and get lost in that system.
Yep.
A little bit of overload, or if a customer's focusing on the wrong thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's quite interesting as well. Like when Julie and I were playing around with it, before we opened the doors and getting a bit of a feel for it, I'd used it a fair bit in Clifton Hill already, but some of the values that kind of come back as well, like we're comparing Super Blast to just like a Kayano on myself, and Kayano for me, I've very rigid, stiff running mechanics, very little rear foot rotation, and me running in a Kayano results in actually quite a high energy return value, and it's just because of the stability essentially blocks my foot, gets me resupinating and propelling very quickly. But my cushioning value is like the worst of any shoe by 30% lower than anything else.
Yeah.
And that really freaked Julian out. He was like, "Oh, well, but everything we know about shoes is like, Super Blast returns more energy than a Kayano does." And I'm like, "Well, the raw materials do, but like how you move in the shoe." But so Julian's like, "Well, what if someone's coming in asking for a shoe for a long run?" I'm like, "Well, I know I can't get through a long run in a Kayano because it's just going to interfere with me so much. It's going to beat the hell out of me. Tight calves, sore." Like, I'm just not going to make it through. But it's our experience that needs to essentially guide the person, and don't get carried away with that shock absorbing feature because the cushioning is so bad in the shoe that's clearly not moving or working with you.
You're still directing that person via the shoe for the purpose of the run. That is your experience.
Absolutely.
Some of those objective metrics just sort of give you some definitions or boundaries. That's good. Yeah.
It is.
That's great, mate. That's fantastic.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Well done. That's great.
I don't think I'm going to be here when you're up visiting, unfortunately. So I think
that's all right. I hear the experience is brilliant. Whoever's there, regardless, from my experience. So
well, that's what we aim for sure.
Yeah. Very good.
No worries.
Well done, Chris.
Easy, guys. Well, thanks for the chat.
Thanks, man.
Julian back over.
Easy. Hey, while Julian's coming back over, Tom, you've got this, haven't you? The Neo Vista 2.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you want to chat through the Neo Vista 2 a little bit, or
I'm not running it yet.
We haven't run it yet.
No.
I'm sure Julian hasn't run it yet either. Look, there's actually been like some substantial upgrades to this as well, mainly in the midsole. Version 1 had this midsole material that was relatively high stack, but all nitrogen-infused TPU. It was a non-plated version shoe that essentially had this really alien-like absorbent response. To be honest, it didn't feel too far dissimilar from the Super Blast, except for it felt maybe a little bit more compliant underfoot, but way less stable because of the upper. And The biggest change they made in the upper, they've reinforced the rear foot heel counter. They've kept the smooth speed assist for the rocker, but they've used nitrogen infused EVA. So what the shoe now is a lot more stable. It's a lot firmer under the foot. There's definitely less rebound and bounce. There's still absorb shock, but it feels more like a slow release foam. You sort of absorb into it and you don't get much return. So Mizuno have plenty of daily trainers like the Sky and the Rider and stuff that feel relatively safe and mundane as well. And I think categorically this shoe almost falls into the same area as those now. So it was only a little bit sad to see the nitrogen infused TPU disappear from the V1. I think it was a pretty dynamic sort of shoe. So, but you could argue that V2 now is probably better for the average consumer, probably works for more people. But those people that loved V1 probably will struggle with this shoe. So I put a full TPU 3mm sock liner in this and just give it that best first feel. So it's been a nice shoe. I'll still continue to use it, but I definitely preferred V1 in just terms of the experience of the shoe.
I've had a little bit of a niggly Achilles, so my experience with V1 was that it was a real Achilles loader. So I've been a little bit cautious with jumping into V2 yet, but yeah, from first feel, it just feels like I'll probably like it more than V1.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It was just weird. V1 was like it was almost like it had the foam of a race day shoe, but the chassis of a daily trainer kind of like it just wasn't stable to contain its bounce. It just
I loved it.
Know what
Loved
it.
To be. I love that. I love that chaos feeling when you hit the ground. You're just not 100% sure what comes back at you. That's sort of almost that's what I'm seeking. So, speaking of chaotic foam, look, I'm going to touch on this one quickly. Julian will probably just cringe a little bit here. This is one of the Chinese ones. This is the Lining Fighting Elite 6. There's been a little bit of media on this one as well. It's quite expensive still, this shoe. It's around about 450 to 500 Australian dollars. And they've used, this famous capsule at the top through here, which is a PEBA infused, like it's a pressurized system. So, and it's encapsulated by this weird paint around the outside of it. As you compress it, the pressure sort of distributes amongst the foam. It's meant to give you more of a bounce sensation, similar to the pods will in the Nike. It does give you that bounce sensation, that's for sure. And the baseline foam through here is their it's definitely a TPU blended base midsole. So overall, this shoe is an extremely bouncy shoe. It's quite unstable. The rear foot's quite like a low surface area, and the midfoot's low surface area. They use TL1000 as their carbon plate, so it makes it very, very stiff. I would argue that's probably one of the Linings. I've always found the Chinese shoes to be quite a stiff, stiff plate in all the shoes. But out of all the shoes in terms of getting bounce back from it in the rocker, it does feel a bit closer to, say, what an Alpha Fly 1 did or an Alpha Fly 2 did compared to, say, a Vaporfly type shoe. So, look, they're hard to access here. People don't really get them. So I can understand talking about them makes it a bit difficult for people to listen to, but they are just starting to pop up a bit more now than ever. And Bryn Nichols, who works for One Running here as well, just sent me a couple of these Chinese shoes. This is the one that I've enjoyed the most out of a series of many that I haven't enjoyed as much, to be honest. So,
this is a race. So this is a race day shoe.
It's a race day shoe. Yeah, it's, okay. the Japanese guy got the marathon record at what was his name at in your race, Tom, in Valencia.
Suguru Osaka.
Yeah, so he's sponsored by Lining now, and I guess he probably popularized this shoe by running that time. And we've seen it a bit more since then as well. But they've got a couple mileage shoes out now, Lining, like the Red Hair, I think, which essentially is a really bouncy trainer without a rocker, and it's had really good reviews. Similar thing, it's got the capsule inside the shoe, and this capsule seems to be making things feel just, bouncier, that sort of first feel, return of energy, more than the previous versions, which have been a bit firmer and a bit more rockered. So definitely worth considering, but hard to access, very expensive. So probably other options on the market that are pretty similar, but yeah, worth talking about. Enjoyed it.
You reckon these brands are going to be like just sold normal retail here at some point in the next few years?
I don't know. You have to ask Julian that. I can't see it. I think it's going to be online sales for a period of time. It's just not accessible. There's no stores I know of that stocking them at the moment. Maybe like a Running Warehouse or something like that. But even them, they don't stock it either. So I have no idea.
Yeah, the Chinese marketplace, no one's really come over in a big way. And like when I say come over, I mean like set up a Lining Australia distribution center with with reps on the ground, with accounts over here, like with a warehouse that they can ship from. We did get contacted by, it was like a generic email. So, I don't reply to generic emails. It was one of the lower tier Chinese brands, and I was like, "No, you're not getting me with this." But
Mm,
I think like I'm always open for conversations with those guys because I
yeah,
do think that they've got some of the best technology over there. It's
yeah.
just I don't think they're putting it in the right geometries at the moment.
No, agreed. Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep. And there's no education on it right now. Everything's a bit of a guess. You know, people who are providing information on this remain to be reviewers and influencers, etc. Which we know there's so much room for error in that as well. Like our job is to try and just tell people what the features of the shoes are, what our experience was with the shoe, and it just directs a person towards them. You know, we have people that listen to this podcast, and some will relate to Tom more than to Julian, to me, just because the way that they move or their experience in running. And when you go to generic based reviews, which is what we're coming from through here, it is a bit of a guess and it is around hype. So you need more exposure, more years in the market to get a good following, right? So,
yeah.
Yep.
Fellas, I gotta go. It's 3
Mate,
p.m.
Yeah.
thanks for 45 minutes of your time, mate. We'll see you in 3 months.
Look, it's not normally me. Come on.
No, it's good. It was good. It happened.
It was
We'll
good.
give it another month and we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's it. And there'll be new shoes out then, and maybe
There will
I'll be
be.
running.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll be running. You'll be running. This will be good.
What should I do about my knee? You guys normally have good advice.
Get into
I
the
think
Olympus, mate. See you
Big,
running
I need
around
more-
in
I
your
need
zero
minimal.
drop.
No, I like your previous line. I think you need to listen to Ellie a bit and give it a little bit more conditioning in a closed setting in the gym for a bit, allow it to heal. I mean, if you see a surgeon, they're going to offer you surgery, right? If you see a non-surgeon, they're going to offer you a rehab setting. So I think stick conservative first, allow your body to try and do something, and maybe you just need to accommodate a few other stresses in your life and realize that you might actually carry a bit of soreness for a bit longer than you think because you're tired as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll blame it on my babies. I'll blame my knee on.
Stop running so many hills. That's obvious.
Oh yeah,
Hills are
that's
tricky.
true.
Yeah,
That's got to be something that I do next time round. But that's a future problem for me.
it is. It is. All right, guys, I gotta go pick
All
up
right.
Zara.
All right, boys. See
All
ya.
right, chat
See you later.
Tell me if you take my place. Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking. Who'd have stayed hung up? Who'd have been knocked down? But here I stand, a man whose roots he understands, and I'm gonna hold my head up high. I was taught as a young man, doesn't matter if you're white or black. Just show love to everyone you meet. Doesn't matter if